Welcome back, and in this one we need to talk about the keep alive. And this is kind of related to dynamic components. And we are even going to use the same example. Now that we know how a life cycle works for each component, we can use them to maybe display when everything it's mounted or not. So I'm going to go here, I'm going to do script, and I'm going to do the setup, open and close, and I'm going to import for Mike and Steve component the unmounted, so I can know when it gets mounted. So I'm going to say unmounted, unmounted from view, and then at the bottom, I'm going to just use that hook on unmounted, and then open and close, and I'm going to be just outputting something that says, this component got unmounted, so console log, and then open and close, and I'm going to say, this is Mike, so Mike unmounted. And I'm going to copy all of this, and I'm going to take it to Steve. Just copy paste, but this one, it's going to be Steve. So now we know when a component gets unmounted. Now, when you work with this component, the dynamic components, when you remove a component, this works like the if, right? So if I go to Steve, it's going to remove the Mike component. So we get Mike unmounted. It works just like the VF. It's just unmounting the components to show the other one. If I go back to Mike, we get Mike and we get Steve and so on and on and on. And sometimes this is what you want. You want something like this. But the thing is that we are unmounting and mounting the component over and over again. What if you need to have the same content, the same static content, or maybe you have a network request to a database, maybe Mike has a network request. Every time you unmount and you mount the component, that network request is going to fire. So that's, it's not that good. We need a way to maybe skip the unmounting of this component, or maybe a way to know when this component was already mounted at least once. So we get the keep alive. I'm going to go here and I'm going to wrap this component inside of keep alive. And this is going to help us, manage all of this. I'm going to go here and say that inside keep alive, we have the component. So I'm going to save it. I'm going to reload the application, right? Start from the beginning. And now I'm going to go to Steve. And notice that we get no Mike was unmounted. And when I go back to Mike, we don't get the Steve unmounted. So, both components are being kept alive. So we are not unmounting the components. And this kind of fixes the issue, but now we have a different one. You still need to know when you show or you hide a component. So whenever you use the keep alive, the components, they have new lifecycle hooks. So we have the on and then activated and then on, let me find it first, on unactivated. So let me just find it. I'm sorry, on deactivated. There we go, on deactivated. So now when we are hiding or showing, we have a way to know with the hook. So I'm going to say on and then activate it, open and close. And inside we just use the callback. And I guess, we're going to say pretty much the same thing. I'm going to say Mike something. Let me go here and say Mike on activated. And I'm going to copy the other one and do pretty much the same. So we can, just see it in action. I'm going to go here and say console log and then Mike deactivated. Cool. So copy, paste. And I'm just going to do it on the Mike. We don't need to do it on the other one. Notice that it's already working. So I'm going to reload the application. The first time it starts, Mike is on. So we get Mike on activated. If I go to Steve, it's going to say Mike on deactivated. And if I go back to Mike, it says activated. And it's not unmounting and mounting. It's just activating and deactivating. So with the hooks, now we can know when this tab or this component is on or off. Another thing that you get with the keep alive is to decide which one you want to cache. Because maybe you might have inside component, maybe like 20 or 15 different tabs, and you don't want to keep them alive. You want to keep them all alive. So you can target the components that you want to include on this keep alive thing. So you do a space and it's going to be include. And this one is equal to, and I'm going to say Mike. So if I include Mike, Mike is the only one that's going to get this feature. If I go to Steve and go back to Mike, notice that we get Steve unmounted. So, Steve, it's mounting and unmounting every time we go and we go back. We go in and we go out. Now, the same way we do include, we could do exclude. So now it's going to be the opposite. Instead of including Mike, it's going to exclude Mike. So if I reload the application and I go to Steve, we get Mike unmounted. So it's unmounting the Mike component. And the same if we go back, back and forward. So, that's another way of doing this. And if you have multiple components, let's say that you have 10 and you want to only keep alive like 5, well, you can go here and do Mike, then comma, and then Steve, and both will be inside the keep alive. If I reload the application, I go to Steve, notice that we get the Mike deactivated, but we don't get the Steve on unmounted, right? So it's being kept alive. Now, maybe you're asking yourself, or you're wondering, how, is this useful? Are we going to really use something like this? Well, it depends. If you're creating an application that works like an app on your phone, where you don't have links or you have buttons to navigate the different components, well, this is totally useful because, it's just like that. You have a button to load a section. When you click the button, the section loads. It's just like that. And you don't need to do something like this. You can easily use the keep alive in the component. It depends on, again, what you want to do and what is your application. Okay, so we are almost done with this whole module. We need to talk about teleport, and we need to talk about custom directives.